As these insurance companies begin to crack down more and more, the thing to remember is that the roofer has no skin in the game. Roofing companies don't have any authority when it comes to meeting with the adjuster. I started in the insurance restoration business October 3rd, 2011. I was a door knocker. I would go out to homeowners and say, hey, I think you might have storm damage. I want you to sign this contingency right here that if I can get your roof paid for by the insurance, you'll use my company. If they don't pay for it, you don't owe me anything. And whenever you have a roofer who's not a licensed adjuster discussing things like price negotiation, what your policy covers, trying to adjust the claim for you, they're actually breaking the law. And we want to uncover this practice in this industry. This is a lot of things roofers don't want to talk about. They don't want this industry to be exposed for what it is. But if you've been following my channel, one thing you've probably noticed is we like to expose the truth because we want to make this industry better. That's the very reason I'm making this video. So what I want to do is kind of explain first the typical process for, I would say, probably 80% of roofing companies. So basically, they're going to have a guy who goes out, he knocks doors, maybe right after a storm, or maybe it's even a year or two since there's been like a real storm. We're talking maybe hurricanes, so wind damage to a roof. We're talking big hailstorms. So those are the big two main losses for roofing and why they're going to be covered by an insurance company. But sometimes those storms will be, a year or two old, or the damage may be 8 or 9 years old. But then there was like a small storm that came through, so roofers are like, oh, I'm going to knock these doors, and then they find hail damage that was 8 or 9 years old. And basically, they take some pictures, maybe they take a video, then they'll come down off the roof, they'll show you that and say, hey, here's the damage. I think we can get this paid for by your insurance. All you have to do is pay your deductible. You have to pay your deductible. If you want to know why you need to pay your deductible, make sure you subscribe. I'll put a link to that video in the description right here. You have to pay your deductible. So they tell you you're going to have to pay your deductible. That's all you're going to owe. And after that, I'll deal with the insurance. We'll help you file a claim. We'll deal with the adjuster. We'll meet him out here because meeting the adjuster is like going to court with a lawyer, right? They're going to have all these things. But all you need to do, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, is sign right here, or okay this, that if I deal with your insurance and get your roof approved, that you'll use my company to put the roof on. And if I don't, then you don't owe anything. That's the typical contingency that these guys are signing. 99% of sales guys in the roofing industry work as 1099. They're independent contractors. Even if they drive a company truck, even if they have company logos on, they have company business cards, the reality is 99% of those guys are just 1099 subcontractors. So they don't make a dime unless they sell those jobs. So their theory is, let's just throw everything against the wall. And I'm speaking from personal experience because I was one of those guys. That's how I started nearly a decade ago. And the reality is that those guys, they'll throw everything against the wall because if they file or convince you to file 10 claims, then one might stick. So we want to make sure, first of all, that when you file a claim that it's actually real damage. So you need somebody who knows the industry really well, not just someone who's like a salesman that goes out, but rather somebody that's trained and licensed and knows what they're doing. The second thing that's really common in this industry that was kind of already hit on, but I want to make sure we really bring it out. The sales guy comes out and says, hey, we'll help you file a claim. We'll walk through the process. We'll deal with your insurance. We'll make sure that you get paid everything you need and deserve. Here's the problem with that. The roofers and sales guys, they have no authority in the industry. They have absolutely no skin in the game. There's no reason that an insurance company has to listen to these contractors or roofers. The insurance actually makes an estimate with a program called Xactimate. And if you're not Xactimate trained, like truly, there's actually a school you can go to become Xactimate trained. There's like an actual certification. It's a real thing. If they don't have that, first of all, they're not going to be able to really pitch back what needs to be paid for. The second thing on that is they're not legally allowed to pitch back what needs to be paid for because that's considered adjusting the claim. So if you ever have a roofer who's like, well, we'll make sure you get everything you need and deserve. How? Oh, we're going to meet the insurance adjuster out here and tell them what to pay for. You can tell them. But I'll tell you from experience, they don't care. They do not care what the roofer has to say. And as a homeowner, if you don't know the lingo or what your policy covers, like what it really, really should be paying for, then you're going to be stuck just accepting the bare minimum. Most claims end up getting denied. Then the roofer tries to say you need to file a reinspection or something like that. But when it comes to the roofers trying to adjust claims or fight over damage, they cannot legally talk about adjusting the price or the policy or anything like that because there's something called UPA laws. Again, we're going to get into that. So the unlicensed practice of public adjusting. So if you don't have a public adjuster's license as a roofer, you aren't legally allowed to talk to the adjuster about what the customer's policy covers, about what is or isn't supposed to be paid for, what is or isn't included in their policy. That's illegal. Do roofers do it? Every single day. But see, that really puts the roofers and the homeowner both at risk because they're exposing themselves to some serious lawsuits. And it doesn't make sense for a homeowner to work with a roofer who's going to have lawsuits against them in the future. Or as these insurance companies begin to crack down more and more, the thing to remember is that the roofer has no skin in the game. Once the adjuster has a date, then the contractor can meet the adjuster out there, which, let's be honest, really does nothing. It is a sales tactic that roofers want you to believe that they are doing something for you, that they are offering a service so that way you don't go sideways on them, so that you don't use another company because they're portraying this value, which is really a false value. Like it holds no weight. I can't express it enough. Roofing companies don't have any authority when it comes to meeting with the adjuster. It's just a sales tactic to get you to believe the roofer is offering you a value. The insurance company might say, hey, we need to get 3 estimates because we can't agree with the roofer on the price because he keeps coming back. What? Why? He's not allowed to adjust the pricing. Now the roofer can set his own pricing, and if they don't agree with it, this is where it gets interesting. They're going to ask for all these estimates. You want to get new estimates, and then you have to go and gather all these estimates and present that. You don't have to do that, by the way, but it's just a tactic the insurance wants you to do so that they can try and pay out the lowest estimate possible. So once they finally approve the claim, if that even happens, more than likely it'll get denied. You have to do a reinspection. You have to get the roofer out there again. It'll probably get denied again, or they'll say it's going to be repairable. Then the roofer has to come out and try and repair the roof. And let me tell you, at this point, you and the roofer have already had about 20 points of contact with the insurance company. And then maybe it'll get approved. Just somehow, miraculously, it got approved. But here's the reality. These insurance claims are underpaid by 40 to 50%. So in order for a roofing company to really make profit, what ends up happening is they have to cut corners in places. The insurance cuts corners because if they can cut $3,000 off every single claim, what do the roofers have to do if the insurance underpays $3,000 on every single claim? If the roofers don't have any skin in the game to say, hey, you're underpaying a claim, they don't have any skin in the game, then what are the roofers going to do? You're kind of stuck in the middle. So the roofers, in order to get the business, because let's be honest, they'll still make a little bit of money if they cut $3,000 worth of corners. Where do they cut it out of? What they do is they rely on the previous flashing systems that were there, and they reuse the old stuff because the insurance doesn't want to pay to replace it. It's a code upgrade. But we can't talk about policy because we're not licensed adjusters. So they just rework the old flashing system. The most vulnerable parts of the roof don't get replaced, they get reused. Those vent stacks on the roof, they've got holes from the previous roof in them. What do roofers do? They just caulk over the holes. They just paint them to make them look new. That's not the right service. That's not right. That's not a right roof. When claims are underpaid 40 to 50, even 60%, but are you really getting the right roof that you deserve? So now you may ask yourselves, well, if if I don't have if I'm stuck in the middle and like I don't know what to say to the insurance company, because let's be honest, you can't really just say anything. You're not going to know. And the roofer doesn't have any authority or skin in the game. What do I do as a homeowner? Who do I go to? Well, that's what's really awesome about our company. Because with our company, we've actually partnered with a national licensed public adjusting firm. Now, how does it work? Rather than practicing something that's illegal due to the UPA laws, what we do is we act as a loss consultant. So whenever you get one of our team members to come out and help, we're a loss consultant. What that basically means is the person that's going to come out to your house is going to assess the damage. They'll let you know what's going on. Our national adjusters to work this claim for you. And now remember, they're licensed adjusters. They're allowed to talk about your policy. What they're going to do is they're actually going to call up your insurance carrier, and they're going to request, using the letter of representation, they're going to request a full entire copy of your declarations and policy. They're going to look through that. They're going to then review the entire policy to make sure that they can get you every single thing that you need and deserve. We actually have a saying here. It's offense versus defense. So offense is way better than trying to play defense. Our loss consultant's actually going to take all of the pictures that's needed, all of the measurements. We're going to fill out an entire scope. Then our estimators are going to create for you, using Xactimate, a third-party estimate with the pricing that should be paid. This is a third-party estimating company, not us. So you know that it's not just us trying to price gouge. This is industry standard third-party estimators. But they're also going to be reviewing all of the pictures and everything that's needed for the claim to be filed. Because here's the really cool thing. They work on a contingency basis, which means if they write an entire estimate and spend 2 or 3 hours doing that, reviewing pictures, and then they go and move forward and try and suggest filing a claim and it doesn't get paid for, they don't make a dime because they work on a contingency basis. So you're getting the loss consultant with us. You're getting the third-party estimating company to review everything. Then that all gets sent over to our national adjusting team. Then they will review everything because they also work on a contingency basis. They will review to make sure that there's enough damage and proof that a claim should actually be filed. At that point, if there is, this is what's really cool. Our national adjusting team will file the claim for our homeowners, for our clients. They will deal with all of the communication with the insurance company. They will schedule with the adjuster from the insurance carrier and our loss consultant to meet out there. Once we come out, if the insurance does deny it, what's really cool is that you're not going to have to deal with calling them. We're not going to be talking to the adjuster. Our licensed adjusters will be dealing with getting it re-inspected or dealing with a desk adjuster to get it approved, doing all of that stuff. Then, when it's time for the check, rather than getting half the money up front, most of the time, the insurance company will actually send the entire portion, and at that point, we can begin to install your roof. Now, if there are anything that got missed or didn't get noted because we couldn't see certain items that should have been paid for, or maybe you had a better roof than what's typical and that got missed somehow, then we call those supplements. Those supplements will also be dealt with by the public adjusting firm. So what's really cool is under typical circumstances, you and a contractor will have about 42 points of contact with an insurance company. In this case, you might have 1 or 2 points of contact. As a roofer, we have no contact with the insurance company besides that one meeting with the adjuster. We have roofs that are being denied, and then we come back in and we then bring in the adjuster. We have an 82% reversal rating on getting claims that were previously denied reversed. We have a 90% rating on getting claims paid in full based on our estimate. What that means is, yes, you may have got another roofer gave you an estimate for $8,000, or maybe your previous insurance estimate that you got was $9,000. And yes, we might come in and be 12 or 18 or 22,000. But what's really awesome is that means we don't have to cut corners. We can actually afford to replace flashing where it needs to be. Actually replace those caps. Truly have the best labor that the industry has to offer. And some of the best customer experiences and service that's out there. And we do all of that. And still, the only thing our customers pay is their deductible. Doesn't it make sense? It doesn't make sense to use just anybody to do your roof with an insurance claim. Carl SGR will help you out.